ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
You know, I actually asked where the studio was. It's been, 2 weeks since I was able to come back on the air with you? Welcome in. It's The Drive. It is Friday, October 10th. We're going to get your text in this hour. 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. 2 weeks ago, I think Christian Palmer, among many, who covered for us, as I was away on some personal leave and had to take care of some things. And then this last week, we had baseball. So there's no baseball today. I'm back with you, and so I'm glad to be here. And we've got a fun show planned for you. We got Marshall soccer coming up later on this evening. The Herd taking on Kentucky. So you've got two top 25 teams battling it out in the Sun Belt. Bobby Iddings is going to join us about 5:15. We appreciate him for checking in with us here last minute. He's going to give us a preview of that matchup. So that should be fun if you're on your way to Hoops Family Field right now. Looking forward to a great matchup there. So Bobby will tell us more about that a little bit later on. And then, of course, as I said, we're going to get your text in. We haven't done that in a while, and I'll give you the number one more time just in case you haven't used it in a while, you don't have it programmed in. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got Marshall Old Dominion coming up tomorrow. That should be fun. We'll see if the time off for the Thundering Herd has helped. Defensively, Marshall might have a challenge in front of it. We're going to preview that matchup a little bit later on, but we're going to be over at the West Lot tomorrow. We do our pregame show at 12:30. So we'll give you sort of a preview of what you can expect during our preview tomorrow, and that's coming up later on. And, of course, as we mentioned, baseball. We don't have baseball bumping us off the air, but we do have the Tigers at Mariners. That's coming up tonight, and that's going to be at 7:30. You can listen to that game on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. National League action. If you were following along, it was pretty exciting. Dodgers 2, Phillies 1 in 11 innings last night. And so the Dodgers won the series 3-1. The Cubs got the win over the Brewers 6-0. That series all tied up at 2 games apiece. So the deciding Game 5 is going to be Saturday in Milwaukee. So we've got an exciting run to the American League and National League Championship Series. Football action yesterday. The Giants got the win over the Eagles 34-17. So I felt pretty bad for my guy, Luke Creasy, who's going to be calling the games on a Huntington High video stream. Check that out on our Facebook page. So I felt sorry for Luke as his Eagles went down to the Giants 34-17. But, man, I got a lot of catch-up to do here. The Bengals are taking on the Packers on Sunday. And Joe Flacco's the quarterback now? The world has changed since I have last been able to sit down and just focus on doing this show with you and visiting with you. Joe Flacco is now my quarterback. All we need now is put him in a Steelers jersey, and we've got the entire set, right? I mean, starting quarterback for the Ravens, starting quarterback for the Browns, starting quarterback for the Bengals. The Bengals and Browns make a trade. I mean, what has happened here to the world? So Bengals and Packers, that's a Sunday affair. Should be an interesting one. And then Cleveland is at Pittsburgh. Of course, I will be keeping an eye on both those matchups. And then I got to watch a little football yesterday. And so I did jump over to see Southern Miss and Georgia Southern. And Charles Huff and the boys got the win over Southern 38-35. I was actually rooting for Southern to come back and win this thing and just completely do a number once again on Coach Huff and his boys. But on the bright side here, Southern Miss with the win puts a ding on Georgia Southern's record. That could benefit Marshall toward the end, as again, we're counting wins in the Sun Belt, and Marshall needs some after losing to Louisiana. So that's where we're at right now. On top of the world, the Thundering Herd and Old Dominion. That should be a fun one on Saturday. It's a must-win. I hate to say that word, but here we are. Must-win for the Herd. Has to happen, because if not, you're going to go down 2 games in league play, and you're going to have that dreaded fourth loss. You're 2-3 right now. You win on Saturday, you're 3-3, okay? You can turn this thing around. Only one loss in league play. That's all right. You can bounce back from that. Just run the table the rest of the way. You should be fine. Don't have to worry about any tiebreakers there. I would think, since it is Louisiana, it's a loss to a West Division foe, but at the same time, yeah, it doesn't hurt you if you run the East. So I'm looking forward to all of that on Saturday, and we're going to preview that matchup later on. Hey, let's get to the text line. We haven't done that in a while, so again, it feels like I've got to relearn how to do this. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, hey, Paul, super stoked for Marshall UK soccer. Have to admit I'm a UK fan, lived there most of my life, but if we have to get beat, couldn't pick a better local team like Marshall. I sort of adopted Marshall as my other team and support them any chance I get. Go Herd. Appreciate the text. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The thing there is there are a lot of UK fans just from the nature of where we live. Yeah, this isn't one of those, we're surrounded by West Virginia. Marshall's not surrounded by the state of West Virginia. Yeah, it borders Ohio. It borders Kentucky. And we talked about this before. We have friends that we work with that go to OU, went to OU. We now work with them. So it's cool to see these crossovers. That's why I like Marshall playing OU, because we know people. It's fun. Same thing with UK. You got Marshall fans that are into soccer now, and you got some UK fans who are probably soccer fans as well, but maybe they've adopted Marshall. Love to get a chance to see the Herd take on UK. It's okay. You can have another team. I know I've gotten into conversations with Bill Cornwell over that. He's got several teams. He's sort of the same way. He's got like UCLA. That's a team. I still haven't figured that one out. He's got UK as a team. He's got Marshall as a team. I joke with him, hey, which one's your team, really? But there are a lot of people who are like that. Hey, you know what? I like the Herd. I'm a UK fan, but I like the Herd. Or you've got, hey, you know, I went to Ohio State, but, you know, we live here, so we support the Herd. But this should be a fun one tonight. I love this. This is a rivalry. I know you're not going to get anything in basketball or football between Marshall and UK, but in soccer, oh yeah. These two teams have, just as long as I can remember, always gone after each other. So I would say, I could be wrong, but I would say this might be either the biggest or second biggest rivalry for Marshall men's soccer right now. I think the WVU match is probably taken the one spot, but for a long time, I would say Marshall UK was the rivalry for Marshall. To lose to UK was kind of sickening. So those two teams always went after each other. But we'll put that question to Bobby Iddings. He joins us on the other side of the break. We'll ask him, bigger rival, UK or West Virginia? Also, we'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for tuning in for today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% to help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
Kindred Digital and the Marshall Health Orthopedics High School Sports Network proudly present live high school football, presented by the Marshall Sports Medicine Institute. This Friday night, the Huntington Highlanders are back at home hosting the Parkersburg Big Reds. Catch every single snap streaming live on this station's Facebook page and on the Cabell County Schools Facebook page. The Huntington Highlanders versus the Parkersburg Big Reds, only from Kindred Digital Sports.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Friday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's check in on the text line. Texter says, Paul, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we will get smacked by ODU tomorrow. 38-10. Ouch. I hope that's not the case. Hopefully we don't see a ODU smacking tomorrow, and hopefully we don't see a UK win tonight against the Thundering Herd. To tell us more about this top 25 matchup between Marshall and Kentucky is the voice of Marshall soccer on ESPN+. He is Bobby Iddings. Bobby, first of all, do you think ODU smacks the Herd tomorrow, or should we be a little bit more optimistic?
I think Marshall, it's a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. I was actually down at that Louisiana game 2 weeks ago, and I think for 2.5 quarters, nearly 3 quarters, Marshall controls that entire game. Now, you got to come out and show that 2.5 quarters team is the team for 4 quarters on Saturday now.
I'm hoping that's the case as well. Coach Gibson looked really serious this week. Of course, he always looks serious, so I couldn't tell if it was more serious or just standard serious. But I think they took that game and that lost to heart. But that's tomorrow. We got a big one tonight. Number 17, Marshall. Number 19, Kentucky. And, Bobby, I know you go back a ways as well. So this used to be the rivalry, the match that Marshall played every year. Where is it at now? Do you think this one has been maybe taken over by that WVU rivalry, or is this one still up there for Herd fans, or at least for this team?
I think there's certainly an argument to be made that Kentucky is the soccer rivalry for Marshall. I mean, you look at the success that Kentucky's had in the last 10, 15 years under Johan Settergren, who's just been a really steady force on that sideline for the Wildcats. And obviously, the proximity, the 2 hours away, just straight down 64 to get to Lexington, that adds into it as well. The fact that these two teams have played for so many years in a row, going back to the Conference USA days, now the Sun Belt days. But if you're asking me, I don't think there's ever going to be a rivalry for Marshall that's bigger than West Virginia. I mean, you look just in the fact that you've got the fact that West Virginia, same state, you've got the fans that just, look, you're either a Marshall fan or you're a West Virginia fan in the state of West Virginia. Very, very rarely do you see people fans of other teams throughout the state. It's going to be those two teams. It's going to be those two that are always going to be the teams that circle each other on the calendar. But that's not to take away from this Kentucky side. Kentucky is a team that you like to beat. It is a benchmark game at times. It's a big one tonight for Marshall. Marshall just kind of struggling with injuries at times throughout this season, you wouldn't necessarily call it a struggle to get a draw, but now Marshall's got to find its footing. And against the Kentucky team that's in the top 20, a big opportunity this evening.
This is also important because of standings. We got to start counting those soon. I mean, we know Marshall, Kentucky, West Virginia, definite locks, I would say, Yeah, and we could go deeper in the Sun Belt here, but these are the schools that are almost certain a lock to get into the postseason. But seeding still important for the tournament, still important for ultimately where these teams end up. So this is important. We got to start counting those now because we've seen Chris Grassi get upset because he didn't win the regular season. That's how much stock he puts in it. You can win the conference championship and he feels good about it, but he still wants that regular season championship more than anything.
Yeah, and remember, right, the top two teams are the ones that will be the host sites for the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. 2 years ago, Marshall hosted all the way to that championship game when it beat West Virginia because it won the regular season. Last season, West Virginia wins the regular season championship, hosts Marshall, and beats the Thundering Herd in penalty kicks in Morgantown. So that home field advantage becomes super, super important. It is really important for Marshall on the standing side. You got to think tiebreakers. Do those come into play? Georgia Southern's a side that beat Marshall down in Statesboro. It's a Georgia Southern that's in the top 15 now as well. They continue to be super successful. Lee Squires, a very similar story to Chris Grassi, a Division II head coach, gets a Division I job, really has that program turning in the right direction. But to go back to tonight, right, these two sides, both of them, Kentucky hasn't lost a game yet this season. Marshall has one loss. It's huge for the postseason. What do these teams look like? Continuing to build their RPIs. They want to get inside that top 16. They want to be a team that hosts the postseason game. Where does it all start? It starts tonight. They've got to be able to take the challenges that are in front of them, and you've got to rise to it. Talked to Johan Stettergren about that a couple days ago. You look at the next 5 games for this Kentucky team are against teams ranked in the top 25. Marshall, Indiana, Georgia Southern, and West Virginia. He said, we have not been tested yet this year, is what Johan Stettergren said. He said, we've had some tough games, but how do we respond to adversity? What happens if we go down a goal in this match? What does our team do? They've got a lot of senior leaders, a lot of guys that have been captains for a long time. Kentucky wants to know, how do they respond to that adversity if Marshall's able to get a goal up on it quickly? And on the Marshall side, look, you've got so much leadership on this team. But again, this is a Marshall team that if you had told people at the beginning of the season Joao Roberto was going to be your leading goal scorer, I think they'd believe you. But I think they would have expected that total to be a lot higher than 3. And you look across this Marshall team, there's a lot of firepower. Marshall down to, at times, third-string goalkeeper because of injuries right now. Marshall without one of its starting center backs, Thiago Apolinario, tonight. Harui Taneda has been out with injury most of the season. One of your midfielders that's been a star at times. You look at the top, Momo Giap was supposed to be your leading goal scorer. He's been hurt. So Marshall's got to find its footing. That depth that Chris Grassi has talked about all season has been why Marshall has gotten to this 4-1-4 top 20 mark. But what happens tonight? That goes a long way to determining that postseason. After tonight, there's only 6 games left after tonight. This season is very quickly coming to an end. And what Marshall wants to see is what it can do. And it wants to get to that postseason and wants to get there on the right foot.
Bobby Iddings is with us. He's going to have the call tonight of Marshall and Kentucky. It's going to be available on ESPN Plus for those of you that can't attend at Hoops Family Field. Can you believe it's also senior night? I know we've still got more games, but it's senior night for this squad. And you look at these seniors, there have been some really talented players come through Marshall over the last few years, and this class is no exception. Who maybe stands out to you as you look at those seniors?
Well, it's always going to be the guys with the tenure. That's always first and foremost for me. So I'm always going to start in a situation like that. A guy like Ryan Holmes, who's come in, he spent his entire career in a Marshall uniform. He's been so steady for Marshall. You know, Ryan Holmes hasn't scored a goal since 2022. He was one of the guys that had the most starts on the team back in 2022. But since then, you think 2 seasons ago, Ryan was kind of a hit or miss player into the starting lineup. Last season, same thing, kind of started a lot towards the end of the year. This season has been one of your main center backs. He's done everything he possibly can to get on the pitch, and that's the exact type of player you want. Tio Gadar, another one that has just been so instrumental to this team. Alexei Janic, who was so key for Marshall last season in that run to the College Cup. I think about some of those guys, and I talked with Chris Grassi. I said, look, like these guys that are your captains, that are your leaders, the Gadar, the Holmes, those type guys. I said, how much do you lean on them in even the recruiting process? When you're trying to get guys in, when you're bringing guys in on transfer portal visits, is that just add in to what you're looking for? He said, absolutely. He said, look, I'm not always able to be around the players all the time. So I have to listen to what my coaches are telling me, to what my players are telling me. They have to let me know if guys are going to fit into this system. And those guys become so important. You got to think, not even on the pitch. Yes, they're your vocal, they're your communication guys on the pitch. But you get away from the field, they're the ones that are organizing the team kind of get-togethers, the team bonding, those things like that. Those are the guys you want to see, and those are what you want to continue to have. That's why you have a successful program. Chris Grassi has talked about, hey, look, I want this team to be a family. And I've talked about it before. But if you look on the field after every match, the first person that greets him is usually one of his children. He immediately hugs them, picks them up, and then that child eventually ends up going around and talking to every single one of the players. And I asked him once, I said, what does that mean to you from a program standpoint? He said, look, we're a family. We have guys that are coming here, and I'm telling their parents that I'm going to treat them like my own. That's exactly what I want to do. So those guys, the Theo Godars, the Ryan Holmes, they continue to really push that mindset forward about family. And those are guys that have been so successful in kind of the progression of this program into being a national powerhouse that it is.
And the great thing I think about this program as well, you don't see that much turnover. I mean, we look at football, we can look at basketball, and we go down the line, and we see a lot of turnover. This has been a program over the last few years. We don't see much of that turnover, and when we do, it's more beneficial than not for the Thundering Herd. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think obviously you saw probably more transfers happening this past offseason than they had seen in a long time. But at the same time, I think it's a college athletics issue. I don't think I'm breaking any news by saying that. And I think at some point you've got to have that name recognition. If you're going to follow a program from year to year, you've got to have players you're going to come to a match and they're still going to be there, or come to the court, or come to the field, baseball, softball, basketball, football, track and field, volleyball, whatever. You've got to know that you're going to be like, oh, I remember that player from last season. And you're exactly right. That's what this program has. You can come to a game right now. Oh, Hi Pinto's still there. He's going to be starting at right or left back. You still have Theo Godar. Oh, he's going to be one of the other right or left backs. You still have Ryan Holmes. He's going to be the center back. So to be able to come to a game and be able to see these different guys that you've kind of, quote unquote, grown up with, that's what really brings us all to a college sport. You latch on to a player, and that's your guy, right? You and I can probably think of some random Marshall player. For me, it'd be Eric Kresser. I was only there 1 year. Chad Pennington, whatever. That was somebody that we latched onto as a kid and said, I've always liked him. He was one of my favorite players.
We can do that in every sport, and I think that's what's really cool about Marshall. I don't know if you get that everywhere, but that's something that is a great point. Bobby Iddings is with us. He has got the call tonight. It's going to be Marshall and Kentucky. It's a top 20 matchup between two bitter rivals. I am pushing this rivalry aspect. I know it's probably not going to beat the Mountain State Derby. We need a cup for this rivalry because I know Chris Grassi loves cups and shiny things. And let's make this happen. Can you push that agenda for me?
I'll see what I can do. I'll have a conversation. I'll have some conversation with people I know. You talk to your people. I'll talk to my people.
Absolutely. So we're not going to be able to make that happen is what you're politely telling me.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, maybe you know what? Let's get the fans involved. We want a challenge cup or something. Come on, Kentucky, Marshall. This has been pretty bitter for many years, and I think that's what makes it fun. So we've got a good one tonight. Again, folks can watch this on ESPN Plus if they can't attend in person. But, of course, if you can, it's going to be a great night for beautiful weather outside. I know cliche as it might sound, we've got a Chamber of Commerce night out there, and also it's senior night. So this should be fun. You got a great one to call tonight, and we'll be watching it. And you know what? I'm not going to even do that split views on ESPN Plus. Straight you. I'm not even going to do the other one, the multi-view, which is cool, but no. Straight you tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's so much fun to get to bring this program to people, and I welcome any fan that sees me at a game that wants to come up and say hello. Hey, you never talk about this. I want to hear about it. It's your broadcast. I'm just the one delivering the message. If anybody wants to hear anything else about a broadcast, I'm all ears. Whatever you want, find me wherever you need to. Just let me know.
Bobby Iddings joins us. ESPN Plus. He'll have the call tonight. Marshall taking on Kentucky. Bobby, is always good to talk to you, and we'll do it again soon.
Sounds good, Paul. Appreciate you, buddy.
We're going to take a quick timeout, come back. We'll get your text 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll also preview Marshall and Old Dominion. That's coming up tomorrow. But your text coming up next on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Patrick Insurance in Ironton would like to take this time to salute all our local men and women serving in our armed forces and veterans who have risked their lives to keep us free. They say thank you and God bless America. This message is courtesy of Patrick Insurance at 301 South 3rd Street in Ironton. Trust them for all of your insurance needs. Call Patrick Insurance at 740-532-4793. That's 740-532-4793.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland, or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, Dave will be back with us on Monday, 10:06. It is Metro News Talk Line here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open. It's 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. I tell you, it's been a while since I've been in the studio. I don't have my phone silent, as you can hear that right now in the background. Told you, I had to be pointed out where the room was, where the button to do. It's been a couple of weeks, so we're getting back in the swing of things. Thanks for being a part of it. And again, that text line one more time is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we've got Marshall Old Dominion tomorrow. I've had a couple of people ask me, hey, do you really think that Marshall can put up any points against Old Dominion? Are they going to get spanked? I mean, I've heard that's this sort of the term that has been asked. Hey, you think the Herd's going to get spanked tomorrow? I would think Marshall would come out with a chip on its shoulder. After losing to Louisiana, I would think the Herd would have something to prove. But Old Dominion's pretty good. So I'm going to say the Herd's in this one for a fight tomorrow. I'm not thinking the Herd's going to get rolled. I could be wrong, and I'm not sure what the season forecast looks like if Marshall does get rolled tomorrow, because we're going to be one step closer to not being eligible for a bowl. We're going to be one step closer to not being able to compete for a conference championship. And it is a first year for Coach Gibson. He's in a situation where he had to rebuild a team. And thankfully, there are now some safeguards in place to kind of prevent this from happening again to this degree. And that should have been in place all along. I don't think we thought this, meaning the royal we, the collective we, the powers that be we, I don't think we thought this through when it came to, okay, yes, these kids should have the ability to transfer, but you're decimating programs because kids are jumping ship. I mean, you commit to university, you should be at least locked in for a particular length of time. Hey, look, here's your obligation. You've committed. You got to go through it now. You got to go through spring. You got to go through fall. And you got to go through the season. And then once it's all said and done, if you want to stay, great. If there's another opportunity for you, you can go reset and do that opportunity. But the way it was just detrimental to any development, any progress a program would try to make. So I'm all for it. Yeah. Kids can transfer. I get it. But at the same time, let's put some common sense back into this. If there was ever common sense, let's put it back. If not, let's get some common sense. But back to the story at hand here, Marshall, Old Dominion. And, of course, we're going to be previewing the matchup tomorrow. We're going to be over the West Lot for our pregame coverage. It begins at 12:30. You can listen to that right here and on 93.7 The Dog. Now, we're going to preview the matchup. We're going to preview what's happening in the Sun Belt. Of course, we already had Southern Miss beat Georgia Southern 38-35, so we'll recap that game a little bit more. And, of course, usually we have some fun on the tailgate lot, so I'm looking forward to that. But kind of give you a preview of what you can hear tomorrow during our pregame coverage. We usually kick things off with our, well, aptly titled Kickoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you take your seats, please? Here we go. There's the kickoff.
It's game day in Huntington as the Thundering Herd return home to face the Old Dominion Monarchs. Marshall comes in at 2-3 after a bye week, and that break followed a game they'd like to have back. The Herd led Louisiana by 17 in the fourth before falling 54-51 in double overtime. Head coach Tony Gibson says the bye came at a good time to fix what went wrong defensively.
I think that we got some technique stuff fixed defensively, some scheme issues fixed. I think that's a big thing. I think offensively, those guys have a lot of confidence right now, and our staff's done a great job of keeping them grounded and keep getting them better. So I feel really good about where we're at right now at this point during game week, and excited to watch them go play Saturday.
Gibson says the off week gave the Herd a chance to reset and refocus on the details.
Good and bad. You hate that feeling coming off of a loss, and then you have a long time to think about it. And, the more you watch, the madder you get as a coach, and you don't move on. So, that was what last week was for. This week, all our focus has been on ODU. They're a great football team, coach really, really well, and have great players. So, it was good because we fixed a lot of things. So now we have to go put it to test again.
Wide receiver Floyd Lacey says that loss stuck with the team, and it's fueling them heading into today.
It motivates me a lot, and I feel like it motivates the team a lot too, because we coming off a game where we was up 17 points in the fourth quarter, and we could have won, and just mental mistakes that costed us the game. So this break, we thinking, we getting everything situated, fixing our mistakes, corrections. So going into this game, I feel like everything is going to be down the park.
Linebacker Kerryon Martin says the bye week gave everyone time to look in the mirror and see what's holding this team back.
We're a few plays away, a few minor mistakes here and there from being in a better position as far as record-wise. So coming out the bye, I'm excited to see how we respond.
He says penalties were the difference in Louisiana, and that can't happen again.
Penalties, they definitely killed us, especially in that last game. We had 12, so that we cannot continue to do that, play undisciplined, and expect to win games.
Defensive back Boogie Trotter says the group used the break to get sharper on the details and better prepared for Old Dominion.
We improved in a big way, coming in here playing ODU, a better team in the conference. getting a little more time to study film, find out their weakness and the strengths and their tendency. It helped us a lot over the bye week to get to know more about the players that we're going against.
Offensively, quarterback Carlos Del Rio Wilson continues to settle into his role. He's completed nearly 80% of his passes for 627 yards and 9 touchdowns in his last 3 starts. He says the offense is clicking because of how close this group has become.
The unity, everybody coming together, knowing our assignment, everybody executing their assignment, knowing that your brother and your teammate going to execute theirs and bringing everything together. I also say our relationships are getting better, our bonds getting better.
Coach Gibson says that calm, steady leadership is what makes Wilson stand out.
And I'll tell you what I really like about him is he never gets too high, never gets too low. Good play, bad play, it doesn't matter. He shakes it off and moves on to the next one. So you want that with your quarterback. That presence in the huddle with those guys or on the sideline with those guys. He never panics. And he stays calm, cool, collective in there. And, going back to, 2 weeks ago, we put the ball in his hand, and he takes us down and scores with a minute to go in the game to give us a lead again. No panic set in. He just ran the offense like he does every day. So, really proud of where he's at, and now he just got to keep going.
Old Dominion head coach Ricky Ronnie says Del Rio Wilson's mobility and decision-making create real problems for opposing defenses. And that's something the Monarchs have studied closely this week.
He's a really big-time playmaker, tough to bring down, strong kid. He'll run physical, but he knows to get rid of the ball. He threw a 31-yard touchdown on a check down because he stepped up in the pocket and dumped it. He does a nice job of climbing the pocket and doing those sort of things. He can run it, but he's a quarterback first, and he does some good things.
Across the field, Old Dominion brings a confident group to Huntington. Redshirt sophomore Colton Joseph accounted for 5 touchdowns in last week's 47-40 win over Coastal Carolina, including a long, explosive run. Boogie Trotter says the Herd defense knows it has to contain a dual-threat quarterback who can take over a game.
We put a lot of focus on that, but not too much. And Coach had put together a good scheme to stop that, stop the run. So it should be a good one Saturday, and we should be able to slow them down.
And he says the secondary understands the pressure. They're ready for it.
It does. I'm very motivated, but it's just like another conference game, so that's already the most motivation I need. But as you say, they've been putting up points, so we're looking to slow them guys down. As a DB, we're the person on the field that the game can go be a blow out the score or be a shutout, so I'm looking forward to taking on this challenge and slowing them down.
Coach Gibson says keeping Joseph off balance will be critical from the first snap.
If you blitz him, he'll throw the screen. He's smart. He sees stuff coming. They do a lot of check with me stuff, the line of scrimmage, so they'll catch you in something and get the perfect play for them. So we have to be careful and pick our poison when we do that, when we try to get after him and when we don't. So, we have to disguise some things and not show him what we're doing pre-snap. And we have to be really, really on it on defense. If not, this guy could make you look really bad.
He calls this one of the most complete challenges Marshall has faced so far.
They're a really, really good football team. Obviously, they've competed against Power 5 schools. Indiana, 27-14 was the final score. So they're as good as anybody on our schedule, including Georgia. So, they're explosive. They make plays all over the place on offense. Their quarterback's dynamic. Their running backs, their wideouts. Defensively, they're really good. Not giving up a lot of points. They don't give up a lot of explosive plays. So they're a very good football team. We're going to have our work cut out.
Old Dominion coach Ricky Ronnie adds that Joseph's recent growth has allowed Old Dominion to expand the playbook. More tempo, more read options, more ways to get mismatches.
He's playing very well. And he's very talented, not only with his arm, but with his legs. And the ability for him to run has opened up some of the passing game, such as the play to Bolt for 80 yards, if he's not a big runner, that play probably doesn't get off the ground, if he can't threaten them with his ability to run. But I also think that we've got more depth at playmaker across the board, and then our offensive line is doing an unbelievable job of covering people up and getting our playmakers into the secondary where then their God-given ability can start to take over. And then I think the coaching staff's done a nice job of doing that too, is finding ways to get them in space and utilize that. And then when they have been in space, they've taken advantage of it, right? I mean, I could get to, if I was playing quarterback for us, I could get to those same places that Colton was getting to, and then I would get tackled for a 5-yard gain, right? You understand what I'm saying? So there's the difference is his ability to, make people miss, but then run and do some things has been great.
This is Marshall's first home game in nearly a month, and Coach Gibson says he's counting on a big crowd at Jones C. Edwards Stadium to make a difference.
I hope that they'll come out and support us this week. I know it's fall break, and I don't know how many students are going to be here or not, but, man, it'd be great to pack this place and have it like it was the first 2 weeks. And I know we'll get support out here, and that helps our guys. But, this is another first for us. This is our first Sun Belt, game of the year at home. So, let's show everybody what we're all about here, and let's pack the Jones. That's my goal.
Coming up after the break, we'll take your text at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on everything for your next project now at Menards. Upgrade your bathroom with Lions, showers, bathtubs, and surrounds that match your style and budget. Lions is known for durability and design. They feature an ultra-gloss finish that's scratch-resistant and easy to clean. Check out our entire selection of Lions bathroom products today on Menards.com. Plus, view all our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future. And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now. 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
the providers at Marshall OBGYN. Online at marshallhealth.com/OBGYN. The Area Agency of Aging, Southern Ohio's designated Aging and Disability Resource Network. And Swisher and Losi, independently owned with free local delivery and drive-through service. 636 East Main Street in Pomeroy, Ohio.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Bell, and I invited you here to my hotel room to talk about your cheeks. Your big, beautiful cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutter, I'm talking about swabbing them. Did you guys know that each year 20,000 Americans with blood cancer are searching for their life-saving marrow match? Can you even believe that? I mean, people need marrow, you guys, and we have it. So here's how we can help. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is swab your cheek, this cheek. Then go to Gift of Life Marrow Registry. It's so easy, anyone can do it. And in case you're wondering, if you're a match, donating, it's a lot easier than you think. So wherever you are, go ahead and swab that cheek. Go to giftoflife.org and get a free kit sent to your home, or find a donor drive in your area so that you can swab a cheek and save a life. It's only a minute of your time, but it can give someone else the rest of their life.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's our Friday edition of The Drive with our text line open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Hope to see you all Saturday on the West Lot as Marshall gets set to take on Old Dominion. First of 2 home games for the Herd this homestand. Must win for the Marshall Thundering Herd. I know we're at that point now where it might sound, let's just say, I don't think it's too soon to say this is a must-win because you don't want to go down 0-2. I've kind of pointed that out. So it is a must-win for me. Herd has to win this game. You want to stay anywhere in the hunt for a conference championship, and you want to make sure that your season's on track. You got to win this game, especially at home for the fans. And hopefully the green helmets are not going to be on display ever again just because they seem like bad luck. I like the green helmets, but they also seem like bad luck. So there's where we're at. Hopefully, Herd proves a lot of you wrong. What do you think? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is the text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Herd roundup tonight. We talked earlier about Marshall men's soccer, the women's soccer team in action at South Alabama coming up tonight at 8 o'clock. Volleyball, the Herd dropped a match at James Madison last night, 3-0. The Herd and Dukes play again tonight at 6 o'clock in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Also, swimming action taking place. This should be an interesting one. Marshall will play host to West Virginia in the duel in the pool that's coming up tonight at Fitch Natatorium. And as we mentioned earlier, it is Marshall and Kentucky, a top 20 matchup in Sun Belt play. Marshall coming in number 17, Kentucky number 19. That's at 7:15 tonight. Hoops Family Field for the Thundering Herd, needing to win and stay with the leaders. Kentucky, of course, is undefeated in Sun Belt play. So that's where we're at as far as what's happening with the Thundering Herd. The biggest, of course, tonight and then tomorrow with the football game. Texter says, Paul, I think Marshall actually shows up tomorrow, loses, but it'll be a closer matchup. All right, appreciate that text. And you can drop your score prediction as well. Again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm hoping we see a big crowd tomorrow as well. Big crowd tomorrow make me feel a lot better about where we're at with this team. I mean, it's going to be great weather tomorrow. I mean, it's great weather tonight. I mean, I feel like Spencer Atkins here from Channel 13 now talking about the weather. But, you know, there shouldn't be any excuses tomorrow. There should be a good crowd for this one tomorrow. And it's going to be an important game for Marshall. If the Herd fans, I mean, Coach Gibson's been talking up Herd fans all week. The players have been talking up Herd fans. Hey, you know, they stick with us. They're behind us here. We're going to actually see that tomorrow. We're going to see, 30,000 plus at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. Would that be nice? And I know we haven't got into this yet. I know they got the Fast Pass going on now. So get yourself acclimated with what's happening. I know that there have been some criticisms these last few weeks as far as the wait times to get into Jones C. Edwards Stadium. And I know it's difficult because of the new screening procedures. And if you're inclined to wait till the last minute, you're probably going to run into a line. If you are willing to maybe check yourself in early with the Fast Pass, if you don't have baggage, you can do the Fast Pass and then you can check yourself in a little bit quicker instead of having to wait through the lines. So that's my only advice. I haven't seen this in action yet, so I'm curious to see how beneficial it's going to be for Herd fans, but I know that's at least going. And honestly, I'm hoping that this will be a little bit smoother of a situation tomorrow. I mean, because a lot of Herd fans try to go in through one gate. And I know with the fencing, that's kind of limited a little bit of the actual space you have to kind of loiter and get ready to get into line. I know, and that was a necessity to have that fencing, but I don't know what the answer is going to be just yet. I mean, would it be maybe important for Marshall to kind of, and I don't want to say that fenced-in area, but I know going to other stadiums, it takes me a couple of extra minutes, but usually I see those people further out. Now, you're limited to what you have as far as space is concerned at the stadium, but wouldn't it be something if you could see those people a little bit further out? You can go through that process early, and then you get to the gate, sort of like checkpoints. Okay, hey, we're checking you in. Okay, now you're in. Okay, we're checking you, and you can have the scanning wands as well. You can have all of that. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. With honestly, I'm hoping we get a big crowd tomorrow. If we have a big crowd and we see how that's going to work out, yeah, maybe you can tweak it for the next game. But that's where we're at right now with the entry into the stadium. Of course, you can enter the stadium. The Thunder Walk's going to be at 1:10 p.m. and the gates open at 1:30. So if you can start getting yourself in 1:30, and if you're trying to get in with as little hassle as possible, there's a fan assistance tent that's going to be between gates A and B on north. That'll be 3 hours before the game. You get your tickets pre-scanned. If you have no bags, and you can get a wristband that's going to allow you entry through gate B north. If you have multiple people, you're going to have wristbands, and no one's going to have to, no one's going to be able to have bags, is sort of what I've been told on this as well. So if you've got a group of people and you don't have bags, you can check into the fan assistance table to get here's the stadium entry points. And again, I know they've been pushing this. I'm just kind of sharing it as well. If you have seating in sections 100, 102, 104, 106, and 108, you want to go through gate A. If you have Sky Suite tickets or Fast Pass, you go through gate B. If you're sitting in 110, 112, 114, 116, and 118, you're going to go through gate B South. So gate B North is for Fast Pass and Sky Suite. Gate B South is going to be for 110, 112, 114, 116, and 18. Gate C is going to be for 120, 122, 24, 126, 128, and 130. Gate D is going to be for 105, 107, 109, and 111. And then Gate F is going to be for the student section and section 113. So that's sort of the rundown. They've got all that stuff posted over at herdzone.com. So that's what it's going to look like if you're trying to get in a little bit faster. Again, I know that's been a point of stress for a lot of you. At least that's what you've told me. And I'm hoping that the Herd administration has kind of figured that out. And we'll see what it looks like on game day tomorrow. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for everyone being a part of it. I'll be back with you, I hope, on Tuesday. We got baseball on Monday. So baseball on Monday. The boss likes baseball, so we're going to have baseball, and that's fine. I'll be back with you on Tuesday, I think. Whatever the case may be. You can find me on X at Paul Swann, and of course you can follow along. I'll hopefully know a little bit more what our schedule looks like here in the next few days. But whenever the next time I'm back with you, I'm looking forward to it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.